Hello, Style fans. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and here we are, getting ready to get into the picks and bans of tonight's match, the first round of our Season 16 playoffs here. We are in the Ishtal bracket. We've got Scout Gaming tonight up against Catalyst Eclipse for the round one of their game. The winner will move on to fight Anbu, which means we've got a couple of folks going on here to fight at least 5 weebs. So we are ready to get this game underway. We're going to start picks and bans in just a moment. Thousand Eyes, are you ready?
I am as ready as I'm going to be. I am still scrambling to put things together because I am also running the stream. So apologies for that one, but I am just about ready. I have given the teams the okay to start up the draft here, and we should be getting underway very, very shortly. Yeah, like you said, first night of playoffs here. So pressure is on for these teams. And it's gonna be close. Just looking at these teams, they seem fairly evenly matched just as far as ranks go, and it's a little all over the place. So this could be a little bit of a wonky couple of games.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be interesting for sure. We do have at least one diamond player in this lobby, so who knows how that's going to end up here. But we are getting into picks and bans here. Picks and bans are starting up right now. It is going to be interesting to see how these teams play out because once again, like once you get into this kind of level of play, you get into the I'll say it creates its own meta, right? Because you need to be like, okay, well, what champions are powerful right now versus what champions do my opponents play, right? Because sometimes comfort is king. And so even if that champion isn't good right now, the opponent has like 100 games on it this season. You can't let them play that. So that is going to be interesting to see how we see these bans play out. But we do see a couple of powerful picks right now. We see the Kayn and the Karthus taken off the table. Then we see the Syndra banned away by Scout Gaming here. Let's see how the rest of these bans play out and what this first pick is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, Pastor is a Sidra one trick, so you do not want to let that one go through. Same kind of deal on the top side. Ramen plays a lot of that Malphite, has almost a 6.0 KDA on that champion, which is disgusting. That's over 12 games, by the way. That's not like a one-off. That's pretty darn good. On the other side, much more standard meta bans there with the Karthus and the Tristana. They're very, very common. Kayn has seen a little bit of play, especially when you're talking about more lower level play, because he just kind of thrives in the chaos if you're going for either of those upgrades there, the blue or the red. I also did want to point out, Scout, they are running an E-sub tonight, so that is why they are missing one of their bans. That will be there for the entire night, guys. So make sure you take that into account as we go further into our bans. But Maokai going to be the first pick, a very competent, strong jungler that has been around for a bit, and they're going to answer that with the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of success from Kai'Sa recently, and Kai'Sa is a pretty, I want to say safe pick, but she's also very flexible too. I feel like given the right team, she can support her very well, especially if you've got a team that can like let her just press the R button, dive into the enemy team, and have something to back her up here. And I think Nunu is something good like that, where he just creates a zone where it's like, hey, we can't just stay here and auto attack and punish the Kai'Sa. We've got to get out of this absolute zero immediately. But Catalyst Eclipse is going to answer with this Kog'Maw and Braum here, a little bit looking a little bit towards the later bits of the game here, especially with that Maokai, I'd argue. Then this Kog'Maw is looking definitely a lot better ever since those 80 carry mythic changes. Getting that Ginsu's Rage Blade on a little bit earlier is looking really, really good for him. There's a lot of great attack speed items now. Really cool character. Rakan is going to be the final pick here in this first half for Scout Gaming as we move into the next phase of bans.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned here because I know like everything that you said is true about Kog'Maw. The problem is that what we currently have in terms of the meta is not favorable for Kog'Maw. Kai'Sa can get in on Kog'Maw and obliterate him. Rakan gets in, knocks him up. There's nobody who can really stop him from doing that. Maokai has the roots, but other than that, who's going to stop Rakan at this point? So Catalyst Eclipse needs to keep these things in mind when you're playing with a Kog'Maw, because he does absolutely need that protection. And now we have another champion that can flank out of nowhere. This feels like a very scary Kog'Maw game.
Yeah, Aurelion Sol is a character that can just kind of get behind your backline here if you're not careful, right? Scout Gaming has drafted a team that can just kind of skirmish out of nowhere, right? Rakan, very high movement speed, gets that ghosting effect from his ultimate as well, allowing him to pass through enemy champions, right? Kog'Maw is not safe, right? Braum and Maokai are going to do a pretty good job, but they need to be on their toes, right? There's a saying that I like to do in situations like this. How boring are you willing to play?
Oh
Right?
man.
And that's the real big question. Sometimes gold players aren't willing to play boring.
I'm
Sometimes you have to be really boring if you want to protect this Kog'Maw, right? That means just saving your abilities, hugging that caterpillar for as long as possible, and just using all of your abilities defensively.
Yeah, and we're seeing up here the lock in for the Ornn, which is
Mm-hmm.
about what I expected. Just in terms of what Ramen does play, the Malphite is gone. You want a tank, so you're gonna go for the Ornn. I don't think the Ornn is right here.
Hmm.
Ideally, if I could pick any champion for this top lane right now, it would be Tahm Kench. You take
Right.
Tahm Kench, you get another person who can actively protect Kog'Maw from all of this crowd control, and then you just have that ability. You can actually play around the Kog'Maw. When you're talking about flanks, Ornn ult is not great for that. If they're coming from
Right.
all different directions, you can't get a good engage off of that. So I
Mm-hmm.
am a little bit worried for Catalyst Eclipse because it feels like they're saying we want to play a certain way. But if Scout Gaming doesn't buy into that and plays their own way, I don't know what their response is.
Yeah, I would argue that Scout Gaming never actually wants to do a straight 5v5, right? I think they just want to maybe get skirmishes from ganks on lanes and then move immediately into a neutral objective with like numbers advantage. I don't think they ever want a straight 5v5. I don't think they don't do
Yeah.
so well. Like what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think they can. They just can't take it from an average position, right? Like you can't take it from, oh, we're gonna play it and just run straight at them. That's not
Right.
gonna work because then you are
Mhm.
playing into the Ornn. Then you are playing into what the Brahm's gonna be able to do, the Maokai
Right,
ult as
right.
well. There, that's perfect for Catalyst Eclipse. But if Scout Gaming, if they have the Nunu coming in from God knows where, flying in with his snowball, Aurelion Sol flying in from Timbuktu to just
Right.
drop a nuke on the enemy
The
team.
weak fear the shadows.
There's not a lot of
Fear
options, and that
controls
can
them.
still be a team fight. That can still be a 5v5 team fight. It just
Right.
has to be from a more unorthodox angle.
Right. And I agree with you as well. I think it just might be I don't know. It just feels like it's a little too cute, you know?
Yes,
Which
it's hard
which
to
makes
manage.
me yeah, which makes me feel like, hey, if they go into a lane 3v1 or 3v2, like we're just going to have a numbers advantage in a lot of these fights just due to the straight mobility of a lot of our champions, especially in the mid and the jungle, right? So like just having these number advantages just through ganks and mobility is going to give them a lot of power. I think the only other thing I wanted to say kind of about these team comps as a whole is that Catalyst Gaming has drafted a late game team comp, so sort of Scout Gaming to a degree as well. I think Kaisa a little bit closer to like a mid game champion because if she does the attack speed build, but that's like a conversation for later, right?
Yeah.
But Catalyst Eclipse here with the Ornn, with the Kog'Maw, a little bit so with the Braum, maybe like he's like really good level 1, starts to like taper off just a little bit. And then gets very, very stronger. It gets a lot stronger the second he's got some items under his belt. And then Maokai as well. Like, who's facilitating the early game here, right? Right? Like, who?
I mean,
where-
it's got to be like Maokai. You can Maokai gank on Aurelion Sol early. Like that's your real big option here. If you go into mid, you can lock down the Aurelion Sol, stop him from flying away, and then get a charm to follow up with it. That's kind of your best option. Bot lane is also possible if you do catch the Kaisa a little bit too far forward, thanks to her short range. But it doesn't look great, right? Like Maokai has good setup, but top lane is not going to be gankable because Gwen will double kill you. The bot lane, you want that Kog'Maw to have at least a little bit of time to get some items down. Again, mid is probably your only option if you're going to try and go for an early game at all. And it's, again, you know, a weak point of this team that concerns me.
yeah. It certainly is, right? Like, because like if the opponent is not playing the way that you want, then they're going to be a little bit SOL to say. Um, as now we are in the client draft now. We're getting through these last bits of picks here before we get into Summoner's Rift here. Do you have a favor coming into this game? I feel like we've already kind of discussed a
Yeah,
bit
I
about the
mean,
team comps here. I think we do kind of have a bit of a favor based on the conversation we've been having, but want to see if you want to come out and
yeah.
explicitly say it this point.
If we're talking purely, obviously, without knowing super in-depth info about the level of each of these individual players, I,
Mm-hmm.
I have to lean towards Scout Gaming just from a composition wise. Yes, they have a little bit of harder of a team fight to play around, but I think they still have the individual lanes as well. And when you are ahead, if you have the lanes that can get ahead, playing a team composition that does want to play a little bit more awkward angles is easier, right? If
Right.
you're playing something that has to hit level 6 before you can actually fight, that's a whole different story, right? Like if you're playing Nocturne and you have to farm till 6 to look for anything and your lanes just fall behind, then yeah, it's really hard to play that kind of pinch composition. But with a Gwen that's almost assuredly going to be beating out this Ornn all night and day, the bot lane, I think, having a really solid opportunity to get Kai'Sa a lead in which a lot of current meta lanes have counters to her. I feel like Scout have set themselves up for a strong mid game, which is exactly what this composition needs.
Yeah. And not to mention that I think we've said a bunch of times, right? Like this Kog'Maw is gonna be in some trouble here. So I'm gonna be looking for this Maokai, this Braum, this Ornn to really start to play boring here. Like that's what I want to see, right? Like you gotta just go. You gotta just be boring this game. It sounds bad, and I know people want to be proactive a lot, but when you are playing the Kog'Maw and your opponent is showing you, hey, look at all these dive champions, look at all these high mobility champions, look at the amount of CC we've got. You can't just be super proactive because then it invites the opponent to be like, okay, they've used their abilities to engage on us. Let's counter engage and kill that Kog'Maw, right? And this
Yeah.
is going to be so easy for Rakan to do, and then for Aurelion Sol to follow up on, right? Like this is that is the main combo I'm looking for right here, because the ability for Rakan to pop ultimate, W dive into the enemy team, and then create a perfect knockup for Aurelion Sol to follow up with Sky's Descend, that is going to be insane, right? Especially with Kai'Sa and Gwen on the cleanup afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, Rakan doesn't have a lot of immediate fears. Like, let's count the number of like instant hard CCs that you can use to stop Rakan W. It is Maokai W, Maokai ult, Ornn E, Ornn ult, and Ari Charm. All of
Mhm.
those are a little bit hard to time if you're trying to stop a hard engage outside of Maokai W or Ari Charm. So it feels a little bit worrying because I think if Rakan's already mid W on the if Rakan's already mid W on his when Maokai ult comes through, it's
Mhm.
fine. He still goes through. The charm is really the big one, but you'd love to have that charm for something else as well. So things get a little bit hairy, and Rakan, already a really good support in the meta right now, has free reign, especially in this bot lane, because Rakan's going to jump in, knock up the Cogmaw. Braum might tap him to apply the passive, but by the time Cogmaw is going to be able to auto attack to apply that, Rakan's going to dash back out.
Yeah, for sure. And then that's the other thing about it, and that's the other thing about the Rakan as well. He's super slippery, right? Even if you dive in, get the whole counter perfectly, if you're not bursting, if that Rakan is not dead, right, he's just immediately out of there, right? That's the other thing about
Yeah.
Rakan. He's a Magic the Gathering player. The only life point that matters is the last one, right? So that's going to be it's going to be really hard to lock that one down, but we're getting close to the final thing here. I think predictions are in the chat as well if y'all want to put out your channel points or who you think is going to win game one here. I think you and I are together here. I really like what Scout Gaming has put together here. Very strong team composition, lots of high mobility, some decent CC to follow up for Kai'Sa to dive back into the enemy lines here. Really cool team composition. I'm loving it a whole lot.
Yeah, it should be also just very fun to watch too,
Yeah.
because Kaisa flying in, Rakan jumping all around, Gwen doing
Mhm.
Gwen things. There's a lot of fun things to watch as well.
Yeah, for sure. We are going to take just a quick break here for production. We are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the Rift game number 1 of Catalyst Eclipse versus Scout Gaming here for the Ishtal bracket of season 16. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes, and here we are on the Rift of game number 1. Scout Gaming is on the red side, Catalyst Eclipse is on the blue, and we're ready to get this game underway. We might have a bit of a level 1 here. Braum does have a very strong level 1. Might be able to do something here. Let's see what we're looking for. They've got the 5-man stack. They're coming in. Epic Hasnader might be caught out here.
God bless Rakan mobility.
Yeah, God bless Rakan mobility. But mission accomplished. We got some wards in the enemy jungle, so we do have some information on where the red team is starting here.
Okay, I have fun, good things to say. Big Spicy, you have earned my respect. So I have brought this up before. Braum does not have a lot of AP ratios. So whenever I see people go for the relic shield, it tilts me a little bit. It's not that big a deal at the end of the day. But it's like, I don't know. I appreciate when people realize, oh hey, I literally don't have AP ratios. I should probably just get the stronger auto attacks on my champion with an auto attack passive. So it's a minor thing, but I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I have my minor thing, and it means I have a minor grievance with Big Spicy.
Yeah,
I have a minor grievance. They didn't take approach velocity. It is my
I
favorite.
see.
It's my favorite mastery to take on Braum.
I
Right?
don't think it matters against somebody like Rakan.
Right? But like, this is why it's a minor. This is why I say it's a minor grievance. Right? You hit him
Yeah.
with the Q, you slow him, you walk at him real quick, and
Yeah,
then
but
you
Rakan
start
just
smacking him.
dashes.
Yeah, but you just. But what if you don't hit Rakan, right? What if you hit the Kaisa? Then you can really get at him, right?
Maybe, yeah. I can see
What do
it.
you, come on, what are you getting rid of? Oh no, my items don't have as much ability haste. Oh no.
I mean, that's a really your summoner spell ability haste is really good.
Okay.
Having flash up a little bit more is pretty good.
You could take Hex flat, whatever. Meanwhile, bottom lane. That's why I say it's a minor agreements. It's like whatever. Who cares, right? That's why they're down there and I'm up here, right? Like,
Put yourself above them. Is that what we're doing right now?
no, like we got the bird's eye view and we're commentating, you know?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, both junglers starting on opposite sides here does give opportunities for both of these junglers to hit early ganks. Remember, they both have solid crowd control.
Mm-hmm.
Micro Assassin is going to see that there was a ward placed there and is going to, I think, not get much out of this. But importantly, even if you don't get anything physically out of the gank, you give the presence there to allow for Braum and Kog'Maw to just be able to shove this lane a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's important to give Kog'Maw just a little bit of space and time, especially with that call. He doesn't really have as much offensive capabilities here, but there's a W going right in there. There's a little bit of a slow on to Castro. Let's see if they're able to finally connect the stun here. So close. Not going to be able to get it this time, but that's a lot of turret hits onto Big Spicy there. That is going to be some problems later on. They continue this, but here comes the biggest snowball ever in the top lane here. Ramen Ichiraku is going to have to force the flash away. Going to use the W as well.
Good jump away.
Okay, he's out of there.
Yeah, a really good flash with the E to make sure you don't get stuck by the root. A nice knock up on the bot side, but again, Braum doing Braum things. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we expected there. Maokai shows bot side, King Thug Shaker, top side, go for the gank every single time, especially when you have this Gwen who can just destroy Ornn, and you've taken out an important defensive capability for Ornn to make sure he doesn't just get run down by this Gwen. Now, no flash on this Ornn. Ghost is up and ready to go on Gwen. One wrong positioning mistake will ruin Ramen's lane.
Yeah, it is going to be really tough for this Ornn to really get a spot in this. And Gwen is doing, hats off to Gwen as well. We don't really get a lot of time up in that top lane, especially for situations like this. But Gwen is freezing right now, which means Ornn has to come all the way over to Gwen, right? Look at where this wave is right now.
No
Gwen
flash.
is just like, doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Yeah, see now. Yeah. Immediately
yeah.
comes back to lane. Look at that damage.
Really good damage, and also importantly, like healing off of it too. So like that was like a 2/3 health Gwen and a full health Ornn. Now we are just seeing the pain of the flash missing.
Yeah, the Conqueror proc is there as well. Ramen Ichiraku taking a whole lot of damage here. Oh. Not going to go underneath turret here. That's probably a smart move, especially seeing how much damage that one turret shot did to make you facepalm there. But that is going to be a pretty nice start, because now, once again, Ornn basically did the worst thing you can do in League of Legends, which is come back to lane and then immediately have to back, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is not a great start. He came back to lane, got 2 CS, I think.
The reason I got so like worked up about that was like I watched Make You Facepalm literally cancel a couple of auto attacks there. That would have been a kill if those auto attacks had not been canceled. Just unfortunately couldn't make it happen. Now Micro Assassin.
Yeah, Micro Assassin is in the wings here. I think might have gotten spotted out by that one.
Yeah, this is just a push for the dragon.
Yeah, this is probably safe. I don't think they're going for dragon here. I think this is just to give Braum and Kog'Maw the ability to back here, but they might be in some trouble. Now it stops the back.
I'm not sure what we've accomplished on that gank. I'm gonna be entirely honest. The options there were push and give your bot lane a back, or push and go for the dragon because your Ari just got back into mid lane as well.
Mm-hmm.
The, I feel like you have to pick one of those, and the fact that we backed a little bit too far forward is actually going to cost you a lot in terms of tempo. Now, Ari getting the push, meaning we can get into the jungle, means the dragon is still an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's still good positioning for them right now. They have the initiative. They have the waves pushing in their favor. They've got the numbers advantage around the Drake here. It's just maybe they're spending just a little bit too much time with setup. And, there's really not an opportunity for the bot lane to leave here. So this is just a little bit of an awkward spot for them to go for this first Drake. Maokai has retreated back into the jungle here, so looks like it's not going to happen for a little while, though. But Hasinator still on the offense here. Oh, real good stun to stop that. But here comes Nunu in for the side here. That's going to be a really quick flash. Canso Toro following up. Going to be able to pick up first blood here. This is going to be huge because here comes Nunu. They're going to have to stop this Kog'Maw here. It's going to be successful, but Castro is looking really low here. Flashes away from the passive there. And up in the top lane, make you facepalm. Fighting Ramen Ichiraku does have that ultimate available. There's the R1. Can he get off the R2 in order to give him some space? Absolutely. That's already a whole lot of damage, but doesn't want to turn it around here. Might have been able to pick up the kill there, but it looks like they're going to live this time, so that's good enough for anyone. 2 for 1 on the bottom lane there. First blood to Kog'Maw. You got to feel good if you're the Kog'Maw here.
Yeah, Kog'Maw flashing in to make sure that we got that first blood there. And Braum also just staying alive there. I was kind of surprised to see that King Clegg Shaker did not just go full in on the Braum to take that kill. Because of that, not only did you get the kill onto onto the Rakan, but you also gave the opportunity for the Q to land on the Kai'Sa, meaning that you now have to burn flash to avoid Kog'Maw passive getting a double kill. So Kog'Maw coming into there, while it's not, again, it's not perfect, that's totally fine. Kog'Maw's totally familiar with playing off of not perfect and still doing fine later on in the game.
Right. And honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't all go 100% on the Kog'Maw there. I feel like the reason why that Kog'Maw was able to,
you had to pick one,
escape away with the the first blood, was just because Nunu was not with Rakan, right? Rakan and Nunu were separated, so Kog'Maw was just like, hey, if it's I can just survive this damage and be able to get that first blood and then maybe find another cheeky kill on the Kai'Sa if I get it. Because Big Spicy had flashed pretty early. So he was kind of out of there already.
Yeah, it was a little unfortunate. This also does mean, though, we get a really good breakpoint here for the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw loves two things. He loves having the attack speed from those Berserker Greaves as well as the move speed, and he also loves having that lifesteal to make sure that he can just stay in this lane and just wait it out, bide as much time as possible to continue hitting that scaling. Now, Kog'Maw will actually do a little bit of damage too.
Yeah, that W was actually really well timed by Epic Hasinator there, waiting for the shield to run out on Braum and just waiting for Constantoro to just get a little bit too close. So really, really good time to kind of diffuse that kind of little trade back and forth there. But Castro still looking pretty unhealthy here and has had to just start chugging these potions in order to maintain being healthy here.
Yeah, and while Rakan will be able to get the heals down here, so I gotta go for the engage.
Ooh, yeah, there's the ultimate as well, but Castro's still really low. The auto attacks from Kog'Maw are good enough, and the ultimate is going to seal the deal. Meanwhile, top lane, that absolute zero is going to be sealing the deal up there as well. 1 for 1 across the map, but that's 2 kills for the Kog'Maw.
And that's not a fight you had to take there. And I don't love that fight because you go in, Braum is already in front of Kog'Maw there. You're not going to get any damage onto the important person in that fight. Completely disregard the fact that Maokai was waiting in the wings. You just go in there, the Braum shield tanks everything. Castro can't do anything, and because you burned that ultimate already, you're going to get the Glacial Fissure in response, and Kog'Maw could just freely walk you down. Castro will pay the price for that, but I think Epic really kind of caused the problem there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a little bit too, just a little bit too aggressive there than you probably would have liked, but it does mean that... this is still, once again, good news for the Kog'Maw. You were talking about liking that attack speed. Take a look at that Rage Knife. That is definitely a decent amount of attack speed. Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised to see the Rage Knife this early. Now, granted, I'm not like the end all be all of Kog'Maw builds. What I know is that you usually end up seeing the Blade of the Ruin King into the Guinsoo's, but
Hmm.
now getting the Rage Knife already here, they're giving this one away. It's a little bit too obvious on that one, so they will not
Yeah.
make that work, especially with Pastor coming down. But now this could be a
Yeah.
re-engage with the Nunu.
Yeah. King Thugshaker does get a double knock up here. Might bait them a little bit. I don't think they've spotted out. Oh, yeah, they definitely spotted out the Aurelion Sol. They're not going to engage onto that. So they're going to back away here. Can't exactly do any sort of good bait job there. So they're just going to back away. And it looks like Maokai is making their way through the lane brushes here and is popping Rift Herald as well. So this is going to be more gold into Kanto Soro's pocket here.
Yeah, they gotta be a little careful about this. They don't want to tank too many tower shots, but
Yeah.
it is at least that little bit of extra gold from those tower plates and going exactly into the Kog'Maw's pocket. I think ideally you'd want Braum to actually back away there to make sure that you can just get Kog'Maw and Maokai those. I don't know if we had to flash that one.
Yeah, that might. I mean, I can give
I
it
understand
to Ornn. I can give it to Ornn for at this stage of the game with how aggressive Nunu has been in the top lane here. To just be like, hey, like these guys have been a top lane all the time. Like
You're
I'm not
also
about to give away more gold to the Gwen who's been proxy farming me a couple times.
I mean, you're also looking at it too from the fact that Ornn has a winning lane. Kog'Maw is doing great. Kog'Maw is everything that you need. You can be overly defensive because you don't have to win. You don't have to even like go even. All you have to do is exist, survive later and later to make sure that this Kog'Maw gets his items upgraded, gets all that extra protection from the ultimate and the front line that you bring. All you need to do is do that. So I respect it from that aspect. I just, looking at it from our point of view, I think he was going to survive.
Yeah. As yeah, I mean that it does mean a down flash, but I think at the end of the day you're right. Like Ornn doesn't need to win this lane anymore. Ornn just needs to do fine enough. And like, oh my god, he might actually kill the Gwen here. Gwen, look at real low. The R2 is good. There's the clap. He doesn't care about the mist. Gwen, you are not immune to anything. Ramen Ichiraku with the comeback kill in the top lane. You gotta love it.
He heard me talking too much. He heard me saying all that and said, screw you, Thousand. You're an idiot. I'm going to win this lane. And now Ornn winning that lane completely throws this game into flux because that's the lane that you needed to win.
Yeah, now King Thugshaker in the middle of it, not being
one's
able to
on
pop
Kog'Maw.
up an absolute zero, goes down before the rest of the team could engage. Now Pick Van Pike is in a bit of a problem as well, and so is Rakan. Nowhere to go, stuffed inside the brush, taken down, and that's another kill on the scoreboard for Kog'Maw, and not to mention a dragon as well.
A bungled engage from the Nunu, going in, not having Rakan able to get in the right spot to hit the Kog'Maw. And even if you did hit the Kog'Maw in that position, you didn't have the follow-up there. Kai'Sa diving into that would have been a death sentence. Pick Van Pike did not have an opportunity to get anywhere near that fight without putting himself at a large risk. It just felt a little bit too over-aggressive, and that's been what we've seen from Scout Gaming this entire game so far.
Yeah, and not to mention, this is another time Nunu coming into the top lane here. We're definitely seeing some favoritism towards this top half of the map here. I mean, if he's going to be able to get a Rift Herald off of it, I mean, he does have 2 smites. So I think it should be relatively fine.
Yeah.
We're just seeing a whole lot of attention. And this is the second Rift Herald of the game, mind you. And, you know, King Thugshaker was not able to get the first one. So let's see.
Yeah.
We might have a fight on our hands, too.
I mean, I think the point is more that Gwen is helping Nunu rather than Nunu is helping Gwen, right? Like, Gwen is so still very strong as a duelist in this lane. You get lane pressure. Ornn cannot really farm and fight you at the same time. So Gwen's just going to push that lane in, give Nunu the chance to take that Rift Herald with, again, those 2 smites. Really hard to fight against there. And at least you get some objective after the disaster that was that dragon fight.
Yeah. And it seems like it might just be cleanup mode at this stage because this Kog'Maw, That's a Ginsu's Rage Blade ready to go as Ramen Ichiraku fighting Mickey Facepalm here. Just walking away from this fight entirely, and I think that might just be the best thing to do there. As yeah, it's like, hey, you know, like I just need to wait for you to finish your ultimate, and then I'm fine. It's like playing against a Sheik player in Super Smash Brothers. You just have to let them press their buttons a million times, do like 10%, and then you're done. As like Hasnair, really aggressive to get on top of this Kog'Maw here. They might actually be able to get it.
There we
No! They are not good enough. Double kill! No way! This Kog'Maw is 5-1 at 17 minutes.
Yeah, and the problem. Oh, well, we'll get to that in a second. No, okay, we'll get to that now. Gwen is immune. I did forget about that very crucial ability. But honestly, I don't dislike that engage. That engage was great for. Well,
ooh, flash over the wall here, looking for the Kog'Maw. Gonna be able to find the shutdown for Nunu here. I don't think Big Spicy has a lot of a ways to go. He's going from spicy to mild as he goes right back to the summoner platform. It's gonna be 2 kills. For Scout Gaming here, gonna pick up a little bit of consolation prize, but these turrets for the red team are falling all over the map here.
Yeah, King Flag Shaker, I think, actually shook down Pick Van Pike for the money in that kill. Really would have loved to have that money on the Aurelion Soul instead of Nunu. But again, kill's a kill at the end of the day, so you do take it. Man, it's still rough now, though, because remember how we talked about what this mid-game should look like? It should look like Kog'Maw is a bit behind, still working on items. Gwen is winning heavily on the top side. And that's why these fights that are going to be coming from really weird angles, you get that leeway with that. You get, if you're the stronger individual champions at that point, you get that little bit of extra leeway to make sure you can try and fight these a little bit easier. Now from behind, it's hard.
Yeah, now this is the angles that the red team wanted, but being done by the blue team here. That's going to be Rakan taken down here and stuffed by 4 members of the enemy team. As that's a TP into the top lane. I don't think that was incredibly necessary, but we're going to get Kog'Maw with another near location turret being destroyed here. And there's just more and more gold being pumped into this Kog'Maw.
Yeah, I mean, this
fight,
fight,
they still haven't sold their cull either, so that's still another decent chunk of gold that they can cash in as well.
Yeah, that fight is not a bad idea from Scout, right? Like, coming from the flanks is good. I love that idea. It's, again, you are behind in tempo, you are behind in items. The fact that they were behind in tempo is why Kog'Maw and Braum were up in that top side to take that fight in the first place, and then you don't have the gold value anymore, right? You don't have Gwen ahead. You don't have the Kaisa ahead. So Kog'Maw has just snowballed out of control, and it's completely warped what should have been a strong mid game from Scout.
Yeah, not to mention that, like, if you're gonna make an engage like that, you're gonna need some more deeper vision here to make sure that it's safe to do what you're doing, right? Like, this isn't the early game anymore where, like, you can just you can just go through the river, dive on the Ornn, and then it's mostly safe because, you know, folks are all in their lanes. We're in the mid game right now, right? We're pretty deep into the mid game too. Like, folks are getting their second points in their ultimates right now. Like, this is a point in the game where, like, everyone is just kind of all over the place. You need that better vision here. And Scout Gaming, they need to up their aggressive vision here because their defensive vision, pretty great so far. Nice entryways are blocked off here, but they want to go for these aggressive plays, look for these skirmishes. They're going to need to be putting them into the opponent's jungle here. And again, they are rewarded, the blue team, with this dragon. Dragon. It's for the people who can't decide whether it's a drake or a dragon. It's dragon.
Would that not just be like Welsh people or you know, Irish?
Is it?
It's the dragon.
It's a I don't look. I don't know. I'm not gonna touch this with a 10-foot pole. Okay, I don't know.
All right, fair enough. But now Pick Van Pike gonna grab a blue buff. Maybe gonna grab a little bit of a timeout.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Definitely will be.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunately the state of the game that we are in. And I do love this call, though. Go for the Baron. You see them all bot side. They forgot it's 20 minutes.
Yeah, Kog'Maw is coming. This Ornhorn is popped. He's coming through. Gwen is immune. This Baron is half HP. Castro's looking real low. Evan Castanier does get the knock up here. They're going to be able to pick up one. They secure the Baron, but are they going to be able to get away with their lives here? Great knock up by Ornn there. They're looking for the rest of the damage. King Thug Shaker taking really low. Pastor figuring out Castro on the edge of the screen there. And there's the cleanup crew. Catalyst Eclipse comes out with the clean ace. You thought you were getting Baron, but you're going to the graveyard.
They got the Baron at least. They took the Baron with them to the graveyard. It's just unfortunately they didn't have an exit strategy. The fact that Cantasaro got all the way over there so fast, burned the ghost in the process to make sure that he was at that Baron fight at that precise moment, was so clutch. It made sure that they couldn't leave, because all of a sudden it wasn't just an Ornn there. It wasn't just a body. It was the damage threat. And with Ornn frontlining there and using that ultimate really well to buy the space without the people, it gave them the chance to just win that fight full out without having everybody there yet.
Yeah, now Pickvanpike is in a bit of an awkward situation here.
Oh,
Pastor coming in with the charm.
He has
Doesn't
no
have
mana.
a lot of mana, though. Here comes King Thug Shaker. Big Spicy coming in as well. Just a bit of a deterrent. Gonna help Ari get out of there. Pickvanpike not going to be picked this time. Be backing away.
Pickvanpike honestly getting really lucky there.
Yeah.
That Pastor did not have the mana for that. That was an absolutely easy kill if Ari had a little bit more mana. But it's still, again, just kind of pointing out how desperate things have gotten very quickly for Scout, because, you know, we said they have the mid game spike, they have the early game. Well, they didn't have those. And now we're hitting a very accelerated late game for Catalyst. The Kog'Maw has 8 kills. That's way... Nobody should be giving Kog'Maw that much money. What is he going to do with it?
I'm investing in stocks. I'm investing in my future. I'm going to be a very rich butterfly with all this passive income.
Is that like just a metaphor? Is that what the butterfly metaphor is for?
Well, he's
talking
just
about
like
stocks.
a caterpillar.
Well, yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
says
But I
he's a
mean,
caterpillar.
are stocks not like a caterpillar?
I don't know. I don't know. He's just like the butterfly thing is that he's just like a little caterpillar. He's like a little larva. He's just
Yeah, but you're like, if you're investing in your future, like you go into like the little cocoon and then you get it later, and it's like, oh, cool, really pretty thing that also gives
I
money
wasn't
is
going
cool.
for a metaphor thing here. I was just
well,
going for
too
a
bad.
literal.
I found it for you. You're
okay.
welcome.
Well, you know what? That's why we're a team, because you come up with the metaphors I'm not actually putting in there. You probably got an A in honors English.
No, I was bad at
the curtains
English.
were blue, but why were the curtains blue? Team fight R2. Oh my gosh. Okay, well the CC is there. The damage to follow up. That's gonna be a pretty good 2-for-0 by the blue team here. And 25 seconds before the dragon spawns as well. The red team gonna have to do some damage control here, but not a lot they can do. The really only progress they can make is up in that top lane there. Because that's just not where the blue team is right now. They might have gone just a little too soon, but it's fine.
It's a little bit. Look, we're splitting hairs at this point. It's a slight waste of time, but at the same time, you know what?
Yeah,
You're
it's a time
still
loss.
way ahead. Yeah, it's a time loss, but really at what cost? Okay, we've still got the world record right now.
We're still on world record pace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this on my PBs.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't perfect the entire run. My bad.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, it's just like now that Kog'Maw has hit the point where like fights don't have to be long for him to win. He shreds through people so fast. The Ornn ult is enough setup alongside a Maokai ult. You get an Ornn ult that's gonna hit people with Maokai ult following up. You have no options. Like you're just going to sit there and wait as Kog'Maw runs down and takes you out.
Yeah, it is going to be just a bit of an awkward spot right now. Not to mention that like I do want to talk a little bit about itemization really quick because take a look at this front line for Scout here, and they've got a decent chunk of MR here and not a whole lot of armor to deal with this Kog'Maw here. Like Ari definitely hurts, and those Merc Treads are definitely going to do something for like maybe the Braum, right? But like there's not really. I feel like I don't know. I'm feeling like maybe the plated steel caps would have been better. I'm starting to get into like shoulda, woulda, coulda kind of territory here, which is dangerous territory to be in.
I don't
Especially for a caster.
agree specifically.
Really?
So the reason I don't agree is we have multiple roots and charms and stuns. So you want
Okay.
those Merc Treads to make sure that your Gwen and Nunu specifically with that phase rush can get around in fights. If they get
Right.
locked down, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot. The damage like is just kind of steel caps. I don't think are going to change the fight. I think Kog'Maw
Right.
has enough damage that percentage of DPS loss for him is not important. But if you catch the Kog'Maw out,
Ooh, they might be able to do something here. The Stars Descend was not as big as they'd like, but they have found out Pastor here. Good, decent shutdown. Here comes the Absolute Zero coming across. Gonna get interrupted there, but that's a big knockup. Can they follow through here?
Oh.
They can't quite find the damage because the Braum Shield's just too good. Make you facepalm coming in from the back end here. Kanto Soro still alive in this fight and a triple kill under his belt. The blue team, even given a bad team fight positioning, still comes out on top and make you facepalm. Is the only member left from Scout Gaming.
they just huddled around the Kog'Maw. They just formed a protective circle for him, and there's no way to get him. He flashed out of the Aurelion Soul ultimate, and then Kantasaro just got back into that fight. When the Gwen came in from behind, immediately the response was to push her off of it. They had already taken people out after the Kog'Maw got back into the fight. By the time Castro and Mickey Facepalm came in, the repositioning was there, and we saw Catalyst sweep it once again. And they have now the Baron buff on their side of things to try and close this game out strong.
Yeah, I mean now we're looking to this is probably going to be end the game territory here. We're looking at a Kog'Maw who has 3.5 items here, nearly finished up the what I'm assuming is a Wit's End. And, you know, it's just they've got the Baron buff here. We've got Dragons, like they can't waste it on Dragon, right? Because it's just spawning in a minute 45, right? So they're going to get these waves in their favor in just a moment here. They have a bit of a decent split. I would like some people to help out this Kog'Maw a little bit more, but you know, I think it should be mostly fine because the red team isn't really moving as a unit fast enough to collapse on this Kog'Maw here. Yep, he's out of there.
Yeah, they're never finding opportunities to really get onto Kog'Maw. Like, how often have we seen Kaisal go deep in to try and make something happen? I don't think we have seen it yet this game, which is not how you want to be playing this. Ideally, you want to be just diving in and getting on top of the Kog'Maw, but the fight has never started well for Scout. And now that we have hit the point where it doesn't matter if the fight starts well because you just don't have the damage. You're getting stat checked every step of the way.
Yep, and that's the name of the game right here. Is now the Wit's End is finished by Kog'Maw here, so we'll have that movement speed we'll be saving that movement speed for the Kog'Maw here. Another useful defensive tool for the Kog'Maw as well as you know, in addition to the big meatball that has been formed around the Kog'Maw here. We see them moving on towards this Drake. Man, it is Soul, but like I feel like we haven't really used the Baron buff as much as they probably would have liked here.
No, I don't think you need to fight this dragon because I think this dragon's bait to take, honestly, because I don't think you need Cloud Soul. Cloud Soul's not giving you anything that's making you win this that you didn't already have. And if you don't end the game here, Elder Dragon spawns. One wrong fight, you catch Kog'Maw out of position, all of a sudden he's dead for 30 seconds. You get an opportunity to go for that Elder Dragon, start turning things around crazy. Now we see Gwen also just giving an opportunity to split push. This is the team that has Baron, and they just lost an inhibitor tower.
Yeah, now we're caught in a bit of trouble here. Gonna do Shirelia's battle song over the wall, but the root from Maokai is gonna be good enough to take down the battle bard. Now we have the rest of the team finishing off the last bit of Baron buff on their team here. They're just going to face tank this turret. Finish off the last bit here. Yep, there goes the Baron buff. But
Yeah,
this team is still 5 members strong.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be horribly punished for this, but I do think they could have just used the Baron, taken this inhibitor, and then gone back out.
Yeah, Pickfan Pike getting in here, throws down the good stun onto Kanto Soro here, but good teleport by Ramen Ichiraku. There's the R2, 2 good knockups here. Naked Facepalm trying to get away with that Gwen ultimate activated, and now the Aurelion Sol is on the wrong side of this team fight, and he's going to go down as Mega Assassin is going to be the one picking back kill. The inhibitor is down. They're waiting for the respawn, the minions to come in. There's the biggest snowball ever, finding Braum. Don't think it's going to be able to find anything, but this damage from this Kog'Maw is still so good, and even from super far away too. They're looking for an angle in. They have the teleport. Ramen Ichiraku goes in, 5 members strong. They're still looking for something here, poking damage back and forth. There's the Maokai ultimate again, is back
minions.
up. But once again, they still can't quite find the end
Imagine
that
if
they're
they done this with Baron buff. Like, this would have been the end of the game already. Now, granted, I think Scout is kind of at a point where they're kind of desperate. That fight was exactly what we didn't want to see from them, right? It was the Aurelion Sol, looked good, but did you see all of the positioning for Scout? It was front to back, which is exactly where Catalyst want to be. They're going to win that every time. All of those cooldowns burned. Yeah, they chunked out the front line to about like 2/3 HP, but then there's nothing left in the tank after that, and you don't have that engage. You don't have anybody getting onto the Kog'Maw. He's just going to now... With those front lines, they're going to realize all your cooldowns are down. We can just turn back around and we can push into you because we have this Kog'Maw running the engine of our car to run straight through your base.
Yeah, not to mention that like now there's just an opportunity for the red team here to just kind of count their just kind of catch back up a little bit here, shove out all these waves, and get ready for maybe another Baron fight. Right, if they're keeping track of the Baron timer. We're looking at about a minute before the big purple worms right back up, but I don't think they're going to live to see that tail. There's R2 knocking Pickfan Pike into the air, and they're immediately collapsing on top of the Skies Descend. Doesn't really do a whole lot to this team. The Absolute Zero is going to proc, but once again, they still can't get on top of this Kog'Maw. He is full HP. They cannot get to this back line. It's a double kill for the Ahri, picking up these kills one at a time. They don't need the Baron anymore. There's the charm. There's the hourglass, but you're just waiting to go down. Kanto Soro is legendary, and now Castro is the only member left to save this team, save this game, maybe put on the hero play 1v5, but there's not the TikTok clip happening this time. They're gonna go down. There's the ace for the blue team, and game number 1 goes to Catalyst Eclipse.
Catalyst Eclipse looking very good in that game, and granted, I think a lot of that came from mistakes made by Scout. They had a lot of forced engages early, not playing around what they were up against, and it's kind of funny that we went into this game saying I like Catalyst Eclipse composition, but I think contextually I wasn't a fan of it. But then the fights that happened were contextually bad for Scout, despite the fact that it was, oh, we have the early game, we're going in, but we're engaging onto the Braum that has a shield up and at an angle that you can't go around the shield.
Right.
And it was fights like that every single time that just put them in a bad spot. The Gwen fight up on top side where Ornn was able to turn around and get a kill. That shouldn't be happening. And it's because I think you're not fighting around where your champions are strong and where the enemy champions are weak, importantly.
Yeah, it's really going to be important for this particular game that I don't know. I think I'm still hung up on like not seeing as many skirmishes or not seeing as many roams from Pickfan Pike than it probably would have liked in the earlier game, right? Yeah. You've gotten Aurelion Sol. He's one of the best mobility early to like roam and help out kills, right? If we were going to put a lot of attention into the top lane to slow down Ornn, then Aurelion Sol has got the perfect ability for that. He can just leave lane. He can match Ahri's push a lot of the time. And we even saw that he even pushed Ahri out of lane a lot of times. I think I'm still hung up on like Aurelion Sol not using like their huge movement earlier on in the game to make like skirmishes happen kind of wherever.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of opportunities that we saw Scout take that weren't great, and a lot of
Mhm.
missed opportunities that they had that ended up costing them really, really big. And unfortunately, by the time they had any opportunity to right those wrongs, the damage had already been done. So Catalyst taking advantage of all of that and picking up a really strong win. If they can win a game like that, it feels like the entire series is within their hands.
Yeah, for sure. And I agree. And we'll have to see how this match progresses. But this is a best of three, folks. This is not over just yet. We still have at least one more game to go through before we see tonight's winner. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back after this. Catalyst Eclipse versus Scout Gaming picks and bans of game number 2 right after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by 1,000 Eyes, and here we are, about to get into picks and bans of game number 2 of this evening. Now, if you're joining us for the first time, it is Scout Gaming up against Catalyst Eclipse, and Catalyst Eclipse came into game 1 with a pretty traditional comp. Hey, we're going to protect the Kog'Maw, and they succeeded. Not only did they protect the Kog'Maw, they pretty much formed a defensive ball of the likes of which I have never seen in most of my time casting League of Legends around this Kog'Maw, and it was just never able to fully the skirmishy high mobility comp with weird engage angles was never really able to execute on their idea, just because how quickly this Kog'Maw got off the ground, how much gold was funneled into this Kog'Maw. And now here we are. Draft is starting for game number 2 here. We're already seeing some pretty similar bans as what we saw before. Maokai getting taken off the table for Catalyst Eclipse here. Let's see what the rest of them are going through. I forgot to ask. 1,000, are you ready?
What would happen if I said no right now?
I don't know. We end the stream.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, good thing that I am ready, because the band's already underway. I don't think Catalyst are going to change really much of anything. The Tristana will be the last one. And Scout, they get an extra band this time around, but they are going to leave the Malphite up that was taken out last time. Now Catalyst are actually going to go for that Kai'Sa. I think realizing Kai'Sa still pretty good, and they're kind of just banking on the fact that, like, all right, we've taken your pick that you wanted. Are you going to go for the Kog'Maw? Because if you go for the Kog'Maw, we feel we can beat it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing that you need to be able to do, right? When you're doing picks and bans like this, you need to say, hey, are we going to ban away the champion that killed us last time, or are we going to ban away the things around it, right? In order to make sure that if they lock in that champion again, it's going to be hard to be as successful. So here we are. We are getting into this. We're already pretty deep. This is going to be the second pick phase for Catalyst Eclipse here. The Kai'Sa is already locked in. Now the Rel Hover is interesting. Now, as some of you may or may not know, Rel is technically a support, but she's also a jungler as well. And, you know, as casters like to say, never start commenting about hovers, because even at the last moment, it could just be a Leona being locked in here. But Leona
I'm
Kai'Sa,
a little sad.
Yeah, a little sad for sure. Leona is going to be locked in.
I'm a little sad because, one, I think Scout should have taken the Rel here. One, Rel is just giga strong. Rel is a disgustingly good support. If you are capable of playing that champion, you should be playing that champion right now. She is far and away one of the best supports in the game, and I don't think any other tank support can really go toe-to-toe with her at the current state. So I would have loved to see Scout take that alongside that Zeri. It gives you crazy team fight, right? You lose out on the lane, but you get crazy team fight later on. I'm surprised Catalyst then, seeing the Nautilus Zeri, don't go for the Rel, because Rel into that matchup is okay. You don't really have to worry too much. You get the opportunity to break a shield on the Nautilus, and you get the chance to just kind of play safe and, you know, wait for ganks to get this Kai'Sa into fights. It is just going to be Catalyst Eclipse going for the Leona instead, which functions similarly, but a little bit more high DPS, a little bit more single target lockdown. Jarvan is going to be picked up as well, too, which means Catalyst Eclipse are looking to play aggro early as hell this game.
Yeah, Jarvan's level 2, level 3 is absolutely insane. And then that level 6 is going to be really good setup for this Leona to follow up with a Solar Flare. However, Scout Gaming has picked the anti-melee champion, the Dome of Terror, the I don't like all these modern League of Legends champions constantly getting dashes, and they need to go back to the Stone Age Poppy.
Yeah. Now, granted, I don't think Poppy could stop all of this. So I think you still need some level of answer to this. And what's nice is the Poppy is she's an instigator, right? Like, she's going to start fights for you as a team. She can create opportunities. She's one of the junglers that has both the crowd control and the damage in early ganks to make things work. And she scales very well as a frontliner. So I like the Poppy here. The problem now becomes, what do you do for your solo lanes? Because Catalyst Eclipse have made it very, very clear they are going to win bot lane. Scout need to find something to play with this Poppy to do what they should have been doing with that Gwen and the Nunu last game and get one lane disgustingly ahead so that it can't be answered.
Yeah, and Zeri definitely is a champion that can do that, right? We have seen Zeri just be that hyper carry that gets very, very strong very, very quickly, right? And if they are able to pop off in the same way that Kog'Maw did last game, this is going to be a champion that is going to be hard to answer. As the Ornn is going to be popped up by Scout Gaming here, effectively being their 6th ban here coming into the last phase.
I don't like it. I really don't like it. I would have rather had seen them kind of go for the Gwen again, because now, again, who you want Poppy to be able to do something on a side lane. I think, honestly, what Scout should be doing here is picking a mid laner and then saving their top for last pick, ideally, right? Like, obviously, I don't know these players and what they're capable of playing. I'm looking at OPGGs, and I see Make You Facepalm capable of playing stuff like Jace, Olaf, like those are Renekton. There's winning lanes you can pick here. I'm kind of just surprised to see them pass on that. And now you're taking a Poppy into, ideally a winning mid lane. Poppy doesn't have as many opportunities to gank mid lane because there's not as many walls to throw people into. That's why you want Poppy to be able to abuse either a bot or a topside win, because you could just shove them into the wall very, very easily, force them into that. You don't get that same chance in the mid lane, and it's going to be an Azir who can just dash away.
Yeah. I mean, there's a world where Poppy is able to stuff the dash from Azir, but you need to be in the lane already in order to do that, right? If Azir sees you coming,
he's going to get out before you do that.
Yeah. And I think the other reason why I agree with you, I don't like the Ornn here, is because we've kind of put all of our eggs into the Zeri basket here, right? Aurelion Sol was not really able to do a whole lot last game, and that was just because the other team got ahead so quickly that the raw damage that he was doing was just being resisted over and over and over again, right? And like you said, like, Make You Facepalm has a lot of winning matchups here. I would have just liked a little bit more. I was going to comment that he just kind of has a little bit more aggressive top laners, right? We see the Olaf, like you said, the Jace, right? Like, this, just put a more aggressive top laner. You don't need another meatball. You've got Poppy, you've got Nautilus, right? Nautilus isn't going to be as tanky as an Ornn will, but he's still a meatball, right? He's got so much HP. He's got the shield that can protect himself. Like, you don't need a whole lot more. You don't need more CC. Right? You've got Poppy, you've got Nautilus, right? It seems to be the boxes that Ornn checks already seem to be checked, right? And it just, to me, it seems like, hey, what if we just had an Olaf here, right? There's a lot of melee champions on the other side here, a lot of short-range champions too, that Olaf can just pop that ultimate and have it available for a very long time. Now, I'm not saying that Olaf is the perfect pick here, right? But it is a pick that like Make You Facepalm is a little bit more comfortable on and check some boxes that Ornn doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I have issue with Scout's composition and draft this game is, how do you stop Catalyst from walking all over you? Right? Like, you have, I like the pickup of the Poppy to be an engine, right? You can get into a lane and make stuff happen. What lane are you ganking? Like, what lane is going to have success here? Yeah. You're not going to gank Mordekaiser, especially post 6. He's just going to grab one of you and kill you. You're not going to be able to do anything against Azir. He's going to just get out of dodge very quickly, no matter what direction you come from. And if you go bot side, I think Kai'Sa Leona can 2v3 that. That's a really hard lane to try and fight up against, especially early on, when your AD carry is a Zeri who needs to try and get some item breakpoints in order to be useful for your team.
Yeah, and that argument is there for Kai'Sa as well, right? Like, Kai'Sa wants those upgraded abilities later on, like that 6th talent point, right? In those abilities in order to really be effectively strong. The problem is that with Leona there, that's the damage that you wouldn't normally have, right? That passive is very strong for helping you in those early trades, right? And if you have a Poppy to allow for you to have that space, right? There's
Yeah.
2 meatballs down there giving Kaisa the space and time that she needs, as well as the DPS increases in order to finish off these targets, right? And so
Yeah.
I totally agree.
The other thing that I have a lot of concern with is you take Poppy out of the picture. You take both junglers out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Kaisa Leona versus Nautilus Zeri. Kaisa Leona can just kind of go in without a lot of fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mid lane, Azir versus Aurelion Sol. That's mostly a farm lane, but one that I think Azir has a little bit more priority in the fact that he can clear waves just that little bit faster early on, and he has that little bit of extra poke to force Aurelion Sol back.
Right.
So that's a second one lane for Catalyst. Top side, Mordekaiser is going to ream the sword. There is no chance that you see the same kind of thing from game number 1,
Yeah, okay,
where we saw Ornn turn it around. Mordekaiser just gets his passive up and destroys Ornn.
Yeah.
So I'm worried because Poppy shows up. I don't think you turn any of those lanes. Poppy is not there. Your lanes just lose.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not exactly very ideal too. Now, there's an argument here that like Ornn doesn't need to win, right? We discussed it in the last game. Ornn doesn't need to win these times, but like he does still need to get levels, right? And you can't level up if you're dead. You know, that's big forehead, big forehead. I know everyone's like, "Whoa, I didn't that's amazing." Look at this.
I mean, the thing about it is that, yeah, Ornn doesn't need to win. That's usually because he has some other pivot point to play off of.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have that in this game. He has a Zeri who's also going to be behind. And Aurelion, you're going to end up thousands of gold behind going into the big game. And if Catalyst are playing on top of their game, which we did see them doing really well and punishing mistakes really well in game number 1, you just end the game before Scout get an opportunity to do anything. Yeah, if this game goes late, I think Scout have an opportunity to win this because the Jarvan is going to fall off a lot harder than the Poppy is.
Mm-hmm.
But even still, Mordekaiser will still be able to grab somebody late game and win a 1v1. Azir is a really solid late game champion. Kaisa falls off compared to the Zeri, but is still comparable, is still going to output a lot of damage. The issue is her range. So even we hit late game Catalyst, I think, have answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we're both kind of in the same camp here. I think we're both kind of liking Catalyst's composition a little bit more. I'm agreeing. I think they do a really good. There's a lot of displacement on their team, right? They've got Azir, they've got Mordekaiser as well. Not to mention some decent hard CC that's going to force flashes like Leona, like Jarvan as well, which is going to make these Azir Shurima shuffles to be really good, right? It's going to make these Mordekaiser claws that much better, right? Not to mention the Yamino Gemu, you know, you're taking Poppy or Mordecai or Ornn or Nautilus into the Shadow Realm, and then suddenly you're down one of your big meatballs that's supposed to be protecting the Zeri.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like what there is okay disengage for Scout, right? Like you have Poppy ult, you have Ornn ult can be used for disengage, Nautilus ult can be used for disengage, Aurelion Sol ult is pretty solid disengage. But it's like what I don't know if that's enough, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not the best disengages. It's not Nami Wave. It's not Maokai Ultimate. These are it's not Gragas Barrel. These aren't like Poppy is the only really like hardcore disengage ultimate, and you have to charge that one up, and you're not gonna get everybody out.
Yeah. But that is going to be it for our predictions here. We are going to take just a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be on the rift of game number 2 of Catalyst Eclipse versus Scout Gaming. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Style Esports. My name is Shinkari. I'm joined by Thousand Eyes. And if you're joining us for the first time, here we are. Game number 2. Catalyst Eclipse is on the blue side. Scout Gaming is on the red. This is game number 2 of a best of 3. And Catalyst Eclipse has a chance to bring it home and take the W for today in the first week of season 16 playoffs here at Style Esports. We've got a 5-point start for these two teams. Catalyst Eclipse is looking pretty good coming into this game. Twitch chat seems to agree with us as well, and we are ready to get this first game underway.
Yeah, things just gonna start off pretty standard here. And again, we're looking for Catalyst to be the push here. They have the Jarvan, they have the early game advantage in these lanes. They should be able to control everything. This is Jarvan's playground right now. Granted, Jarvan might not be able to 1v1 the Poppy incredibly well, but Jarvan can do kind of whatever he wants. If he invades, he can expect his teammates to be with him and have his back in most cases, on top of the fact that he's really going to be able to lane gank any lane that he would like as well.
Yeah, not to mention that, like, a lot of times you kind of need to ward against Jarvan like you would against a Zac even sometimes, just because of how much mobility, how much ground you can cover with that flag and drag combo, right? A lot of times you sometimes need to go into these odd angles. A level 2 gank from Poppy. Letting it shove in. Here comes King Thugshaker. There's the root right down immediately. Good hook. They're going to knock Kanto Soro into the wall here. They're flashing to follow up. They missed the Q on the, but it's not. It is going to be good enough. Just not for the Zeri there. First blood is going to go to King Thugshaker. And talk about early game. We were just talking about early game for Jarvan. Looks like they're doing it for Poppy here on the other side.
Granted, I think level 1, that's not a bad fight there. Leona is not really terribly great as a support at this point, and Nautilus does have the hook, does have the ability to root people very easily. So I think a really smart adaptation. The only thing that I think could have been a problem that wasn't was if Jarvan tried to do the same thing.
Yeah.
If that had been a level 2 gank on both sides, Jarvan might turn the tables on that one, but kind of banked on that not happening, and it pays off.
Yes, now we get the counter gank here as Castro gonna wall ride here. Ignite's still ticking, but not gonna take them down this time. Gonna take them in really, really low. But that's gonna be flash spent and cleanse by Castro down there. So that's gonna be 2 summoner spells taken away. They're gonna have to be very careful coming back to this lane.
Yes and no, right? Like, as long as Zeri does have that wall, she can just kind of continue to do that. So there is Whoa.
Coming into the mid lane, good hook. Gonna land the snare as well. There's that damage right there. Pastor taken really, really low there.
Where was this in game number 1?
Yeah,
Holy moly. Epic
like,
is disgusting this game.
Yeah, he's doing his best recon impression as Nautilus, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh no, Castro. Doing a good job kiting them underneath the turret here. Big Spicy might have bitten off a little bit more than they can chew here. They might be in some trouble. Aurelion Sol might look to cut them off if they're trying to escape. They're really going to need that Jarvan there. No Blast Bomb, but there's a Hex Flash.
God bless Hex Flash there. Big Spicy will get out. And again, like, a look that is understandable, but that tower is just too strong right now. And Zeri will dodge out things pretty well, trying to punish the fact that the Nautilus roamed, but you can't really do it when they're under tower.
Thank you, facepalm up on this top here, trying to just try to get through the big Mordekaiser shield here, but has to throw in so many spells in order to even come close. And this health advantage is still in Ramani Chiraku's favor here.
Yeah, and if Gwen was going to beat on Ornn in most cases, Mordekaiser's going to beat on Ornn even more so. And the reason for that is more the fact that Gwen has, like, a weakness in terms of she's not very, very beefy. She is all about, like, she has to hit her spells to heal. That is what makes her a threat in terms of frontlining. Mordekaiser doesn't have that. He just kind of exists and is beefy. So he can just kind of continue to fight Ornn, and it's a lot harder to mess that one up.
Hmm. Yeah, it's also. I mean, it's also just. I agree with you. I think the only thing I wanted to say about Gwen is that she's just like she's fake tanky. You know, she's only tanky because, like you said, she needs to land her abilities. The second she starts landing her abilities, she starts healing a whole bunch. Right? It's fake. The tankiness
Ooh.
is fake, but not fake. Down here, oh, Hasn't with a really good interrupt here, but here comes
Thug
King Thug
Shaker.
Shaker in from the side here. Might be able to save the Nautilus's life, but not going to be able to stop. Stops the movement, doesn't stop the auto attacks. Is Kanto Soro going to be the one picking up the kill in the bot lane? We've seen this once before.
Yep. Jarvan coming around, picking up another kill there. Honestly, I really, really love to see that we are still kind of like not giving up on this bot lane, despite the fact that it was a really rough start for them. Gets back around, and Kaisa getting the kills is, again, kind of like you said, we've seen it before. We will see it again, and it is so incredibly influential for this team.
Yeah. So once again, this kind of an onslaught on the top lane here. You did say that mid lane would be a bit of a farm lane. We are kind of seeing that playing out as directed camera just does not want to go into that mid lane there. But we are kind of seeing a bit of your prediction play out here, where Azir is up about 18 CS at this stage against the Aurelion Sol, and you can take a look at your mini map right here. And Aurelion Sol is just having a really hard time even getting close to these minions to try to start to try to hit them.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to do it. It's just going to be constant poke and threat. Yeah, there it is. Pastor, very healthy. And again, Q auto every single time. Going to take out a chunk of the health. You can do it over and over again. The only reason that, Aurelion Sol had any kind of presence in that lane was thanks to the Nautilus there showing up. Can't have that happen every single time. And you can see that it is a problem for Pick Van Pike.
Yeah, Pick Van Pike is also in a very scary scenario. That turret is not going to save you in this stage at this stage, especially considering how low your HP bar is. You are one dash away from just eating it and just going back to the summoner platform. Here is King Thug Shaker. Knocks his Azir low. That's going to be the Stars Descend right there. Is that's going to be Pastor going over the wall. Excuse me.
It scared me too.
Live. Yeah, I got the hiccups. Yeah. Usually that gets rid of the hiccups.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
world works in mysterious ways, Shinkari. Yeah, great escape there from Pastor to get out of dodge. Just I thought for sure that was going to be a dead Azir, but Azir Houdini showing up again and just getting out, not only with the flash there, but with that dash to the soldiers. And Pick Van Pike gets nothing out of that, pushed off of that wave. The only reason that was not anything more was just the fact that that whole team was there to make sure Pick Van Pike could not die.
Yeah. But still on the scoreboard here, we're nearly 9 minutes in. This is about the least amount of kills we've seen in this game, in this matchup so far here. 9 minutes in, only 2 kills. Jarvan is coming in through the wings here. There's the hook onto Leona. Castro looking for a little bit more.
Oh my god, the damage.
Nautilus has already ate so much damage. It's the ultimate from Zeri there. Looking to turn it around. Big Spicy taking a whole lot of damage here. So here comes the turnaround. That's going to be the immediate cleanse here. So here comes Aurelion Solon from the side. That's the Cataclysm. The Dragon forces the flash away. They're trying to get the return damage on the Kanto Sora here, but they can't quite find it. Castro still above half HP. Still looking for an opportunity to get back in, but Big Spicy still waiting for the Zeri to overextend, and Leona is the character to punish. But they're not going to pick it up this time. Going to go about half HP. Castro is going to live to tell the tale. 1-for-0 down the bot lane. Never mind. There is the Zenith Blade and the follow-up. Castro taking pretty low. There's the Star Descent. Not going to land onto anyone. They're still looking for more. Castro can't quite get on top of this Leona and Kaisa.
Yeah, and this is the power that we kind of expected from the Leona and the Kaisa, right? Like, they just go in on Nautilus and he's dead. Now Pastor get jumped on here.
You might have used that dash just a little too soon. There's the Emperor's Divide.
Flash
to follow up, make you facepalm was stopped for a second. They're still going to get the kill, but I am confused.
I think he flashed like right in front of the Azir wall and then E'd into the Azir wall, and it stopped because it is a wall.
Uh-huh.
which is a little unfortunate. But they do get the kill. So Azir does go down. Now, Azir got a lot of tower plates in response for that. So with all of that time spent by Pick Van Pike to not really get anything was really, really bad until Aurelion Sol did get back into that mid lane and help get that kill onto the Azir. But now, at least Azir did get something out of that, and we're going to see the almost Leandries done here. Azir with that Leandries will be very, very threatening here, specifically on these three frontliners here, the Ornn, the Poppy, and the Nautilus. A lot of percent health to burn through.
Yeah, it's going to be a very useful item this game. I feel on both sides of the rift, but as the Zenith Blade onto the Nautilus here, he's already taken a whole lot of damage here. Here comes Poppy.
Good
ulti.
ulti.
The Solar Flare is going to block both these frontliners away. Castro did pop his ultimate as well. So two ultimates, an ultimate spent on the red side here in response to the Solar Flare. So 1 for 1 in terms of resources, but still not exactly what you're hoping for. Is Mickey Facepalm once again showing us why this matchup is not exactly fun for the Ornn.
Yeah. There is one aspect that the Ornn does have with this, which, do you know what that one is, Shinkari?
What is it?
It is the W for Ornn. You can waste Mordekaiser ultimate with it. I know this by playing Mordekaiser.
Oh no.
It's not a fun
become
feeling.
unstoppable. You can't go into the Shadow Realm.
You can't go into the Shadow Realm, and you end up wasting. It goes on cooldown. And I sat there being really confused, wondering why my ult went on cooldown, not getting anything out of it, and just kind of sitting there. It's sad and alone. Actually, not alone. I wanted to be alone, and I couldn't have it, thanks to the fact that Ornn is unstoppable in his W.
Mordecai, the W is just very funny.
Ornn is.
I love Ornn. Also, can I say really quickly? Oh, okay. Well, I can't say really quickly. There's going to be the Ornn Horn. I think he's just using it to clear out the minion wave here.
He is, yeah.
Maybe giving him a chance to back away. He is using my favorite skin line. I think it's the best skin line in the game. I'll die on that hill. Space Groove best. Space Groove best groove. Oh, Big Spicy. Couldn't get the turret. But yeah, Ornn. Love Ornn.
You said
Ornn's
that
such
like
a great guy.
talking
The
to a
clap is so
dog.
good. Yeah. What? Oh, what?
Like, oh, Big Spicy.
Oh, Big Spicy.
Couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it. I mean, it's like a really precise combo you have to do.
It
Really
is.
quickly.
It is.
So like, if you don't get it or you queue too soon, then you don't get the auto reset just quite right.
Anyway,
You have to
you were
sit
saying
there
Space Groove.
Yeah, Space Groove rules. I don't know. That's it. Space
Good
Groove
talk.
rules. Ornn is
Good
good.
talk.
He's the god of funk. Right? I don't know.
I don't think that's what he was. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go out on a limb on this one.
Yeah, no. In the Space Groove universe, he's the god of music. He's like the god of like the disco.
That. There's no way that's right.
Yeah, it's right.
Oh my god. Also, just seeing this damage, Pick Van Pike. Also, specifically, we're seeing the Leandries build from Pick Van Pike, which means you're not getting that extra health from the Rod of Ages. Really being a problem here with all this poke from the Azir. It's making it very difficult to try and deal with him.
Yeah, make you facepalm here. Look at that. Demonic Embrace so early on Ramanaj Raku here. Like,
Love
this
that.
Ornn is just going to never have a good time in this lane, ever. Like, look at that ticking damage already happening. Like the one thing you can do against Ornn is just have a bunch of little bits of damage, right? Because like the armor and Amar have to resist every single one of those individual hits, right? And it's just so much damage happening in such a okay. Zenith Blade onto Castro here, gonna immediately be snared up by Hazinator and stop the advance from Migra Assassin. So going to back away here. But yeah, I mean, Mordekaiser does have a lot of that now, and Ornn, there's not a whole lot these resistances are going to be able to do against this max health damage.
Definitely. Contasora actually getting out of a rough spot there. There's the
Solar
ultimate.
Flare. There's the Emperor's Divide.
Oh
there.
my
Dragon
God.
has nowhere to go. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Kanto Soro on the back line. Castro finally getting a comeback kill, but it's not going to be enough. Triple kill for the Jarvan. And we're going to find a 4 for 1 down towards the Dragon, as now they are going to back away. And I think they got the Dragon at the same period too. So that seems pretty good. Seems pretty good.
Yeah, I love Pastor's Azir this game. Has gotten out of a lot of rough situations and got into the fight there specifically to push the Aurelion Soul into line for this Jarvan to flag and drag through the entire team that was there. A huge turnaround. And yeah, while we didn't get the Leona ultimate hitting a lot of people, the fact that Azir could just shove everybody back in, the AoE damage from that into the Cataclysm just made it a very easy fight. Even if Cataclysm weren't ahead there, that was a fight they were destined to win.
Yeah, and now they're also looking at a very strong map positioning as well. Look at the amount of turrets they've already taken from the red team here, and now they're taking up the second and last Rift Herald on this map as well. They've got 2 dragons. Macro, they're looking great. Micro, they're doing these small, like especially with what you've been talking about with Pastor, they've been doing really, really well here. And even individually, Scout is having a real tough time here.
Yeah, you know, we said going into this big game, they're going to be a couple thousand gold behind. It's going to be playing the really long game here. You can see 17 minutes into this game, we're about 4,000 gold advantage for Catalyst. And that's going to be something they have a lot of room to play with here. Now, with no dragon coming up for another minute here, they're going to be able to push out bot and mid and just get control of it. This is Soul Point, a very early Soul Point if Catalyst can confirm it.
Yeah. As now, here we go. I mean, this is going to be the next big objective to fight over, right? Both these teams are already jockeying for position, trying to get some vision down around this pit here, because we're looking at about 30 seconds for this next Clown Drake to spawn. This is going to be the first one in the gathering for Cloud Soul here, so this is going to be pretty important, right? This is one of the reasons why you want to put a bunch of why you kind of want to get these first 2 early Drakes, right? You might not be able to stack the buffs, but take a look at this, right? Red team has to be on this half of the map. They have to be here. Blue team, they don't have to. If they wanted to, they could give up this Drake and not barely lose anything, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that the red team has to be here in order to stop this Soul Point from happening,
I don't think they can.
means that they know exactly where they are, right? Even if they try to attempt to, it's going to be a really rough uphill battle from here. But they do have a teleport coming in.
TP behind as well.
Does not work. Yeah, we have to watch out. Here comes Ramani Chiraku coming in for the backside here. Stars to Send is available, and here it comes across the team. Big
Zeri's gone.
Damage as we were hoping. Kaisa is going to be able to pick up 1. Let's see if they can pick up 2. Leona's going to pick up 3. Castro's looking real low in the Shadow Realm. Zeri goes down, and Make You Facepalm is the only member left on the red team to tell the tale, and they are immediately turning around. They're going to pick up Soul Point.
Yeah, a fight that they really couldn't take. You kept saying like, oh, they got to answer this. They have to be here for this. No, they don't. They don't have a chance in hell to win that fight, especially with how far behind this Aurelion Soul has been. Now, I believe 3 levels behind on this Azir and 65 farm. Look at the difference in items here. A full item and a half up on this Aesol. This is just disgusting differential in terms of the gold value on these champions, and you're late game scaling. You're all late game scaling. You don't have a lot of mid game. You can't take these fights. I know that you want to. I know that it is their sole point, but you have to look at reality and say, how do we win this? And realize there really isn't a way right now.
Yeah. The classic counter to team positioning really well for Dragon is to immediately go mid, right? But like, I feel like even if you do kind of like make any sort of decision, even remotely close to Dragon in that scenario, you're still going to have a team fight and you're still going to lose it, right? So there's not a, they're kind of forced into a bad position, right? They would have to entirely reorient their team to be in the top lane in order to get those objective bounties, right? That's what they would have to do, but that would take so long, and they wouldn't have contested anything. They probably would have lost Drake a lot quicker, and then they might have lost some turrets on the other half of the map.
Yeah, now with a Rift Herald as well, like the tempo just doesn't stop. They get the dragon, now we're taking more towers topside.
Yeah. The pace of this game is
This could be a
out
good fight.
of the wazoo. Is that's going to be King Thugshaker knocking Big Spicy into the wall. That's going to be the depth charge coming across, trying to find Kanto Soro here, taken incredibly low, but they still can't quite find the Kaisa. They're going to take Big Spicy as a consolation
Look
prize,
at the teleport.
but it's a 1 for nothing. Look at that teleport at the top lane. Pastor has teleported on to the minions, and now they're doing the turnaround. Ramen Ichiraku on top of making facepalm here, but they're just trying to get around the side here. Castro might be in trouble.
Oh.
Dashes around the side. Do they have the Emperor's Divide? It's going to set up the turret, though. That's actually going to be pretty tough to deal with, but it is going to be starting hitting the, oh no, Pick Van Pike not exactly looking good here, but might be able to land something. Gets the stun, gets pulled back in. Yami no Gemu gonna land onto the dragon here. He's got nowhere to go. Get the slam, get the stats. Ramen Ichiraku is gonna get those star chips as well, but now is he going to be able to get out of the top lane? Oh, is he gonna take Ding? No way he takes King Poacher with him. All right, he's gonna be able to get out of there. It's a 2-for-1 at the end of the day in favor of the red team, but they're still down 7,000 gold, and they lost that top lane turret too.
Yeah, a major disaster fight for Catalyst there as Scout start that off really well. King Thugshaker hitting the crucial Poppy ultimate to throw Jarvan out of the fight, and now it's 2v4 or 5 there as they just swarmed. And yeah, they didn't get Kaisa on the outset there, but they did take out Big Spicy. And then it was after Big Spicy was already almost assuredly dead that the TP onto the Rift Herald happened from Pastor, who got out, thought we were clear, got the turret, thought we were good. And then I'm not entirely certain why, but went back in there and just didn't really get a whole lot. I think even with the Azir ultimate going off there, you're still probably just dying.
Yeah. He needs Emperor's Divide, maybe set up the turret, maybe give him the opportunity to get the turret, and then maybe back away.
That's a lot of maybes, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of maybes.
I'm trying to think of the scenario where he lives, and I think you're mostly right, where it's like, yeah, he's just gone.
They saw the tempo play, right? Like they're like, oh shoot, we're losing topside. We can't be losing. We're so far ahead. So I'm gonna TP in and win us this fight because we're so far ahead.
Yeah.
And you can't play like that. You have to still play with a semblance of team play.
Yeah. Not gonna get the TikTok play this time. Dragon. Cloud Soul is getting ready to be up in about 30 seconds here. Lots of vision around the map here. I don't know. It doesn't look like we're going to get a trade of objectives here. Red team immediately going in. King Thugshaker might be in some trouble. That's a good solar flare onto Zeri there. Going to Zenith Blade onto the backside as well. That's going to be the Poppy ultimate knocking Mordekaiser out of there. This might be the opportunity that they're looking for. Zeri ultimate doesn't land on anyone. Doesn't look like they have the follow-up either. That is a pretty big resource spent by the red team there. And, okay, well, 2 ultimates popped. I think that's just the go button to start up this Drake. And the red team is just like, okay, take the Drake. We're going to go get Baron.
Yeah,
But
they're
they
going to
have to
give
go
up
now.
the soul. Yeah. I do like that. Big Spicy got the engage, but it didn't work out. But it didn't work out because they burned so many resources. Like you said, now Pick Van Pike having to jump away. They didn't even get the chance to go for the Baron. And because they tried to go and didn't get it, they have to back off and take care of their waves. Baron is free for Catalyst.
Yeah, this is, I mean, if it's not, even if it isn't free, you know, they are going to be able to come out on top of these team fights. We got a teleport coming in from Ornn. Epic has an air, maybe coming to this fight a little too early. He's already chunked down. Pastor is going to be the one picking up the kill. R2, R1, R2, Skies Descend as well, but these HP bars on the blue team are still rather healthy as Castro has a wall ride out of there. Poppy on the top end here might have flanked just a little too hard, as now the team is just trying to find just some semblance of team play here, as they can't quite find an intro back to this fight. Castro is not going to be able to get in here, and Aurelion Sol and Ornn are going to die around the chickens, and Poppy still can't get into this fight. It's going to be 3 for nothing and the blue team is just back on a Baron.
A clean fight for Catalyst, getting 2 solo laners down. Jungler looking like he's going to be next. Pastor will get that one, and the Baron as well. Catalyst just need to push down for the end at this point.
Yeah, this is looking like a very solid way to end the game here. They got the Cloud Soul. They've got Baron. Like, this is a lot of things that are just going really well in their favor right now. They have a lot of power built up. They're up 10,000 gold. This is the end of the game gold amount, right?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot that you can do to really stop a lot of what is happening right now.
I like to. I'm gonna call this a poor man's perfect game because the only thing that they have given has been a couple of kills.
Right.
Which is so it is not actually a perfect game, but I think considering the level of play that we generally see around here, this is about as close as you generally get, right?
Yeah.
We don't ever see a full perfect game at this point because mistakes are going to happen. They are going to occur. But this is about as close as you could get. No turrets, no objectives, major win in the kills.
Yeah, Epic hasn't here forced to use that depth charge right
Pick
there. Now
me a
Pikman Pike. No! He got dunked as Ramen Ichiraku pulls Poppy into the Shadow Realm here, but only knocks it to the end of the Shadow Realm. Kanto Sora dives onto the backside here, going to be able to pick up the kill on the Zeri there. Vinky Facepalm's going to be the next to go. Double kill for Kanto Sora, looking for 3 on the King Thug Shaker, and they're going to be able to pick up 3 for themselves. Kaisa gets a triple kill, and this is the end of the game right here. There's no way to come back from this. These death timers are so long. These HP bars are so healthy, and they've got the Baron buff to boot. They've got a cannon wave as well.
Nautilus
the
isn't
red
even
team
trying.
is going to need a miracle.
Save the KDA. Yeah, he's saving the KDA for this one. Just gonna wait it out as the Nexus is gonna fall. Big win for Catalyst there, as they did exactly what we needed to see them do with that composition. They won early, they played through the mid game, and they closed it out as soon as they had that strong lead.
Yeah, it was a really, really good game from them here. Really, a lot cleaner than that first game for sure. And now they're really coming out on top. Really, look at these KDAs: 3-1, 4-0, 4-2, 7-1, 1-2. Like, this is a really good stat lines across the team. Real good teamwork as well, and incredible play to say the least. Right? Like, I think we've already been singing their praises a whole lot. And even at that first game, like, we had like, hey, like, is this a team comp that's going to be able to pop off, right? Like, this is going to be like really hard to do. You're kind of putting all your eggs into the Kog'Maw basket, and if this Kog'Maw does not pop off, you're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. But Kanto Sora, MVP, right? Like, Kanto Sora, every time they needed Kanto Sora to deliver, Kanto Sora was there. He got the 20% DoorDash tip. Like, he's coming in. He's like, I got your delivery right here. Just boom, a lot of damage. He leaves it at your porch, doesn't ring the doorbell, sends a nice picture, and he says, have a nice day.
Was that an ad read? Like, what?
No.
You just had that ready to go.
Not sponsored, by the way.
No, I obviously Kanto Sora, like, both games incredibly well. The consistency was so important there as well. I also want to give a big shout out to Pastor, especially in this second game. Obviously had the one oopsie up on the top side there, but outside of that, dominated in the mid lane, doubled the damage of the Aurelion Soul, made it very clear that there was no chance for Aurelion Soul to even play that lane. And when we saw eventually at the end of the game, a 4-level lead on the lane opponent, which is disgusting considering how much catch-up experience does exist in the current state of the game. The fact that Pick Van Pike is down 4 levels is absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not exactly ideal, I'll say. This is, once again, very, very good job from them here. Really stellar play, and they're going to be moving on to the next round here. They're going to be fighting against Anbu next week, and Catalyst Eclipse, I believe, moves on to the knockout stage, which needs to be done by the week after. Now, we don't know who they're going up against. It's going to be the loser of Glacial Knights versus Midnight Tempest is going to be Scout Gaming's opponent for that week of September 11th. So we're going to have to keep our eyes open for how Scout Gaming is going to be progressing through this bracket, because they definitely have a steep road ahead of them. You know, being in the knockout stage this early on in the bracket is not exactly good for getting into the finals, but there's still a pathway forward. We can still see Scout Gaming come out in the finals, and good luck to them as they move on. But that is going to be doing it for us here. Thank you all so much for tuning in to tonight's match of Style Esports. If you haven't already, press that follow button. We have League of Legends action for you to watch nearly every single day. If you're feeling generous, press the subscribe button as well. It helps us keep the lights on here at Style Esports and helps you provide you with this great commentary that you've heard today. To run myself, Thousand Eyes, and the entire broadcast crew, thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you at the next match. Bye-bye.